Hello and welcome back to another episode on Let's Talk Football Careers with myself, Barry, and today's guest, Jeff Wood. Thanks for joining us, Jeff. How you doing?
Oh, pleased to be talking to you, Barry, eventually.
I know we've had a few technical issues, but I mean, between us, we've got a combined age over 100, so we can get away with it, Jeff. Not too
Yeah, but I'm
bad.
98 of them.
Well, I wasn't going to take the averages. We would have settled. But speaking just a wee summary of your career, I've got here played over 500 competitive league games for over 9 clubs. You played in England, Finland, Hong Kong, and Malta. And that's before we move on to after your career, where you spent a lot of time in Gibraltar as well, I believe.
Yeah, Spain and Gibraltar.
In Gibraltar. Well, could I ask just to go right back to the start, please, when you were a young lad and when you realised you were quite good at football, how did you end up being a goalkeeper and kind of what was your upbringing?
It's all I've ever really wanted to do, Barry, play football. Was probably about 8 or 9 when somebody stuck me in goal, and I loved it. You were involved all the time. I used to go home filthy dirty. My mum used to complain, but everything was good. I really enjoyed it, and I just stayed in goal. Played for the school team, did quite well there. I was playing for the first 11 at the senior school when I was 14, so it was quite good.
What height are you, Jeff? How tall are you as a
6'1".
goalkeeper? 6'1", aye. So, because you see some of the goalkeepers now, they're massive units, And
They're giants now. I mean, not just tall, but they're like, you know. But I'm still a believer of the Peter Shilton, Ray Clements philosophy. You're there to keep the ball out the back of the net.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, God, now they've all got to play with their feet. They've got to adapt to different rules and everything now, and it's so different than what it was.
I was at Cambridge United as a youth team player, and my claim to fame was FA Youth Cup game against Ipswich, and Kevin Beattie scores 6 goals.
Oh, wow. And were you in goals or were you in the goals?
Unfortunately, Kevin put them all past me. So
nightmare. But you had spells that you were at Colchester, but your career kicked on at Charlton, I believe. That was around the sort of mid-70s. Could you tell us how that move all came about?
Well, Cambridge United decided that they were not going to run a reserve team anymore, that they were just going to have a first team squad. And so quite a few of us younger players at the time got let go. And I ended up going back to play for my local side in the Isthmian League at Harlow Town. And then fortunately from there, Charlton, Harry Cripps, the legend at Millwall, he came and saw me and took me down to Charlton on a trial and got a contract.
And you spent 7 years there, is that right? 7 years.
Yeah, loved it. Still keep in contact with a lot of the people there. It's a real family club, great atmosphere. We have a veterans team as well. They've been out here a few times to Spain and Gibraltar and played. It's a great club.
It's good, and it's a family club, like you say, and they don't forget the sort of legends of the club, because I noticed talking across a lot of players, ex-players, are kind of go under the radar. They're kind of forgotten about you, and this is why we do these kind of podcasts, to try and get your career and your story out there as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, let's say Charlton's really, I think, something very, very special. Obviously, my first real professional club, but I say we've kept in contact. I still speak to the people there now. I actually came out here to Spain with Charlton. We started the Charlton Athletic European Soccer School in 2003. So
I've got players here, right, that you crossed paths with then when you were at Charlton. I've got Les Berry, Keith Peacock, Mike Flanagan, George Hope, and then Steve Gritt, who's still got a part in you played there, a massive part in your career.
He certainly was, Gritt. He was a good mate of mine. Let's just say it was a great club, and a lot of those players that you just mentioned, we used to spend a lot of time together, not just at the training ground, but socially as well. We'd stay at each other's houses if people had parties or whatever. It was a real social club, and obviously Gritty was a massive part, because when I actually came back from Finland in 1993, they took me on at Charlton again with the academy.
Brilliant. So it's great to see that you guys still keep in touch, because only you guys have experienced, what you went through in a football career and all the different times, But it must have been so different back then as well. I mean, the traditions and go out and have a pint. I mean, what was training like? Your standard training day? What time did it start? Time did it finish? And what did you do with yourself after it?
Well, it did used to start sort of 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the morning, but by 12:30, everybody was done. But then Andy Nelson, who was manager at the time, he started to introduce lunches at the club. So when people finished training, they didn't just shoot off and go and do whatever we go and have a proper lunch at the club. And then there was the opportunity to do afternoon sessions at the Valley. They used to have a goal and a penalty area and stuff marked out at behind one of the goals.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember or if you came across one of my previous guests, Roy McDonald. Did you ever cross paths with him? Red card Roy.
Certainly did. What a legend he is, by the
way.
He
is amazing, honestly. he sent me a picture. There's a picture here behind me, a big signed picture and everything. He's so sound, But he was telling me about they had to have six drinks drunk by 6 o'clock at night, he says, after training. He says that was part of the team culture back then. And you imagine that now,
He was brilliant, Roy. I mean, I came across him first time when I actually went back to England from Denmark. When I signed at Colchester and Roy was there. Yeah. What a massive character in the changing rooms he was. And then I went to Hong Kong a few years later to play. Came back and signed for Exeter. And guess who was there? Big Roy. But
he could jump in.
A great time, to be fair.
He's amazing, honestly. I was over in Spain and I done a podcast with him, and I can't speak highly enough of him. And the podcast we've done as well. He never held back. He just was everything I wanted and expected him to be. It was mental. But he was also telling me that he crossed paths with Bobby Moore, and so did yourself. How did was that in your career?
Well, it was a game when I'd played against him when he was at Fulham. And sort of had a drink with him, sort of socially in the players' bar afterwards, him and George and Rodney Marsh. And then when I went out to Hong Kong to play for Happy Valley, Bobby Moore was the manager at Easton. So we used to see, and George Best then came out to play for, I'm trying to think who he played for at Easton. And then, so we used to see each other almost every night in the bars and everything. It was like a real sort of social atmosphere. Yeah. And then when I finished in Hong Kong, Bobby finished as well. And I remember sitting at home and the phone rang and the missus picked the phone up and went, yeah, okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, I'll tell him. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah. Right. And I went, who was that? She went, someone who said they were Bobby Moore. He was trying to sign me for Southend.
It's so different though, because you never had the mobiles where you stored the number.
No,
you got phoned at home and that was it. And anybody could be out there.
She was on the phone talking to him, and that's her claim to fame, Bobby Moore.
It's brilliant though. It's amazing. There's some of just to be stories. You were managed by Mike Bailey, is that right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wasn't with Mike very long, to be fair. Mm-hmm. Because when Mike actually took over at Charlton, it was when Andy Nelson was just about to leave, and I'd already agreed a contract to go and play in Denmark. Right. So Mike took over, and then we actually saw him because they did their pre-season in Denmark. Mm-hmm. So we all met up again and had a drink with Gritty and Laurie Madden and Terry Naylor. That was good.
That's brilliant. So you went to Denmark after you left Charlton, is that right?
Yeah.
And who was that with, sorry?
Herfulia. Right. They don't actually exist now as a single club. They've merged with a club that was about 2-3 miles up the road, Kurga, and it's now Kurga HB. So right. Kurga, Herfulia Bolt Club.
So they're still going together then, basically, as it would be now.
Yeah.
Right, brilliant. And do you get over there much now? Do you ever get back? Have you been back?
Don't really go to Denmark. A friend of mine who I played with in Denmark, Jesper Rasmussen, he comes out here. He's got a place here now in Spain as well. So I see Jesper quite regular, and he comes and plays with us when we play on a Sunday and Thursday night.
Helsinki though, did you move to Helsinki or?
Yeah, I was in Denmark, and then I went to. That's when I went to Colchester for
And that
three,
for a bit part of the
4
season
months.
or something you were saying, yeah.
Yeah, it was like during the close season.
Mm-hmm.
But I got an offer to go and play in Finland with HJK, who were the best club in Finland. Biggest club in Helsinki, played at the Olympic Stadium. So yeah, I took that. And that's another club that's very close to my heart. You know, we had great times there, great players, and I still keep in contact with a lot of those players as well.
Yeah, I mean, some of the memories that you made there, I mean, I've got when you went there, I've wrote down you beat a separate team in Europe and then you moved on to play Liverpool. And I mean, this was a Liverpool team with Bruce Grobler, Phil Neal, Alan Kennedy, Alan Hansen, Graham Souness, Ian Rush, Kenny Dalglish, and Bob Paisley in charge. Is that right?
Yeah, it was an absolutely amazing fixture. We got, like I say, we played Ammonia Nicosia in the first round, got beat 2-0 in Cyprus and was struggling. And then back in Helsinki, we beat them 3-0. So I went through 3-2. And then we were all at the club the following day listening to the draw. And Liverpool came out, you know, absolutely made good. Some of the players weren't happy because they wanted to go and play in the sunshine. But me and Steve Wright, who was also at Colchester, we were more than happy to play Liverpool.
Brilliant. And can your memories of that game? I mean, did you have massive? I've looked into it as best I can, but I mean, is there massive saves you made in that game? Was there big moments in the 1-0 victory that you can recall?
There was. I mean, it was. We were under pressure most of the night. To be fair, I actually got a gold watch for being man of the match, so quite happy with that. But we scored the goal when Graham Souness fell over the ball on the edge of the penalty area, and this guy was talented. Atik Ismail, Finnish international from Turkish descendants, but he went through, put the ball in the back of the net, and that was the 1-0.
Brilliant. And I mean, did you see back then? Did you ever like swap shirts or anything?
No, we didn't. And it was a funny, strange atmosphere after the game because they'd been invited. Liverpool had been invited to an after-match meal, but because we beat them 1, they didn't come. They went straight to the airport.
That's terrible, eh? It's terrible.
Well, it wasn't best. You know, it was just one of those things that. But their plane apparently was going to be later because we kicked off something like 5, 6 o'clock. So they were invited to the dinner. They agreed to start with, and then obviously when we beat them, they just got in the bus and went straight to the airport.
I've heard stories like that as well before, and there was no. I think because there was nobody around you and nobody had all their social media and everything, they just done what they wanted, and it seems like now they've. I mean, you're bound to notice that. I mean, did you even have an agent? When did agents come into your game?
I've never really had an agent. It was just through contacts, people that I knew. Like when I first went to Denmark, it was Charlton actually had a link in Denmark, and somebody I'd actually spoken to over there had said to me, like, "Have you ever thought about coming out here and playing?" Well, no, not really, but you know, put something to me. And then that was the same with Finland. Somebody, Eric Batty, I don't know if you remember Eric, used to work for World Soccer. Used to come down to the Charlton games, and he was the one that said, "Would you be interested in moving to Finland?" So,
but you were obviously not bothered about it, and it never fazed you to just say, "Yeah, I'll try a new country. Let's go." I mean, were you in a relationship at this time, or were you just on your own and able to just do?
No, I was just doing my own thing, like, and it was one of those. It was always a thing of going to play. Like when I went to HJK, it was to play in the European Cup. That was the big carrot, because unless you played for Liverpool in those days, you didn't play in the European Cup. You know, and it was the same quite a lot when I went to Hong Kong. We played in the Asian equivalent of the Champions European Cup. And then when I went to Malta, it was exactly the same thing. I got a shout to go to Rabat Ajax. And again, we won the league 2 years on the spin and played in the European Cup.
Brilliant, eh? And I mean, what's the best stadium you probably played in then with teams that you've played for? I mean, You know, is there a
The
stadium that's
Olympic Stadium in Helsinki it's a great stadium, but obviously we didn't get more than 6,000-7,000 people. Got more than that for the Liverpool game, but we normally didn't get many more people. But atmosphere, I would say, probably in Malta, the whole village used to come with us. We used to go down to play the games. Seriously, they would all be in coaches and cars and tooting their horns and everything. It was like unbelievable in Rabat.
putting them on the map again. It was brilliant.
Oh, absolutely.
But I mean, what stadium out with of the ones you've played in? You know, as a player, did you visit as a player? You know, not your home team.
Well, Liverpool was obviously a great experience because we'd played the first leg in Helsinki and won it.
Yeah,
and that crowd is something else. That, you know, you'll never walk alone. The atmosphere was like unbelievable. So
stepping out to that, it must be amazing.
it was something, you know, when I hear that now, still, it's like it brings it all back to me.
You can take yourself right back there, eh? I mean, standing in the tunnel and ready to walk out and every day. It's brilliant.
We did all that. Me and Steve Wright, the other lad from Colchester, we did all the touching the sign and everything as you went out and having the pictures done. And we had the night before, we had a picture done with the HJK team in the goalmouth.
Excellent. Eh? And the guys that played, I'll have a copy of that as well. And it's really good. Eh? You can keep it all. Eh?
Oh, it's brilliant. You know, those memories. And
I mean, I've got down here. You played over 60 games in Finland there as well. Eh? I mean, you're over 60 games you played there.
Yeah, I've probably played more than that, to be fair, because I did two seasons at HJK and then went to Hong Kong. Then I had the year at Exeter when Bobby Moore was trying to sign me at Southend. And that's where I come across Roy again. And then from Exeter, I went back to Finland again. Sorry, no, I went to Malta first and then back to Finland again in 86, 87, and then stayed till 93. So I had another 6 seasons there.
But as you were saying, I mean, you won 2 leagues over there and the equivalent of what would be 2 FA Cups in Malta as well, eh?
Yeah. Well, the second year we won everything. We won the Super Cup, the first time they'd ever won that. They're equivalent to the FA Cup. They're equivalent to the League Cup and the league. So it was great times. And as I say, I do keep in contact with all these people. You know, because they're big memories for me.
Aye, and it's only now when you look back and you actually take yourself back. You were mentioning names like George Best and Bobby Moore and that, and it's unreal when you think of what they've done with their careers. And I mean, see, George Best, you were saying you went out drinking with him. You're going to have some stories. Is there any ones that stick?
George we used to go to a bar called Rumours. A guy called Billy Semple who used to play for Glasgow Rangers. That was where sort of most of the foreign players used to go, and George would turn up, and I'm telling you, George would turn. It'd be immaculate. He'd have like his white shirt on, his velvet jacket. He'd sit down, and Billy had put a drink in front of him, and the next thing you know, he had 20 birds around him. So it was just, you know, he was a real character, you know, and a legend, really.
Yeah, and I think as the time's moved on and I've discussed about having agents and people there to help you, it was a shame George Best, it just came too late for George Best. And you see players like, you know, you've got Paul Gascoigne, who's obviously still has his struggles as well, but it seems to be fizzing out, and it's good. That's a good side that we have got, eh? But I mean, it's amazing just that I'd heard the name Rumours, and it was because it was in Glasgow, you said, eh?
Yeah, he was Billy Semple used to play.
Players going there, I remember hearing stories of players going there, eh? But again, it's somewhere you can just take yourself right back to. I mean, so you've been up to Scotland quite a bit. You've been up and back and down to Scotland, visited.
I've been sort of across the board because my wife's family was from Scotland.
All right, cool.
From Greenock. So I've been up there and I met the family and everything. So.
I'll remind you going up towards Scandinavia because it just gets colder the further you go up here. And that's you were saying that the players wanted a tie over in Spain and things. We'd be the exact same. It's just an excuse to get over to Spain and get a wee bit heat in us.
Oh, it was like, you know, going up to Finland was an experience, and I was lucky the first couple of years because I was playing there during the summer, and then leaving sort of October, November time to go and play somewhere else. The first year I went to Hong Kong.
Yep.
It was after the Liverpool game. I played quite well, obviously, and then I got a shout, "Do you want to come play for Happy Valley?" So
that's the best team name in football, Happy Valley. It was brilliant. That was around about 85, 86, You were there.
Yeah. I mean, that was brilliant, like absolutely brilliant.
Who was on that team then that stands out? You've been because you.
Well, we had Mickey Horswell, who played at Sunderland, Manchester City. Nick Deasy, who Welsh international, played at PSV Eindhoven. Dave Whiffle, come from Manchester City as well. Billy Wolf from Middlesbrough. And Paul Rogers, centre half from Hearts.
That's mad, how many of you were over there at the same time, And this is again going back to none of you had agents. It was all just different contacts,
Yeah, it was just
brilliant.
somebody would make a phone call and say, right, do you fancy this? And you go, yeah, get on the plane, and away you go.
Well, you had to convince your wife first that the person that was phoning you was real, though.
Well, I was on my own by then, to be fair.
See, that wasn't so bad. Then you can judge it yourself. It's brilliant. But I mean, how was Hong Kong? I mean, you've been to such a different culture again,
Oh, I mean, Hong Kong was again another experience, because it's a team called Seiko that were out there at the time. They had all the Dutch stars from '74 and '78, Riceberger, Ransom Brink, Johnny Rep. They were all out there. Dick Naninga, Pete Shrivers, the goalkeeper. They were all out and playing in Hong Kong.
It just shows how you can, everything just kind of cross paths at different ways. The amount of football players that I speak to, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I was born like sort of early 80s. I got introduced to who Roy McDonough was, and then Roy McDonough and yourself cross paths, and obviously you're for a different era from my time, and it's so good being able to connect all the stories and hear some of the stories and that. It's brilliant.
Well, they were great days, Barry. Really great days. Like, I look back and I can't think of anything that I actually regretted on the playing side of it, to be fair.
If you weren't a footballer, what would you have done, do you think?
When I first left Cambridge, I had quite a good job, to be fair. I was a computer operator in those days, which was quite a good job with a nice salary and everything. But there was no contest when Charlton came and said, in fact, I actually took a pay cut. I ended up with a third of what I was earning as a computer operator.
There you go, God, if you had an agent back then, there'd be a discussion anyway. But you've always you've done your thing, and that's what it's all about. And now
I just wanted to be a footballer. That was the thing,
It's brilliant. And most goalkeepers as well, they never want to be a goalkeeper to begin with. It's to move their way back, and then if you never made it as a goalkeeper, you then become a fan. Usually that's what happens, You've done it as a goalkeeper, and what a career you've had, Can you pick the best 11 players you've played with, please? I always do that just as I'm rounding up the career. You can pick a formation. I usually just say 4-4-2, but
4-4-2 probably be. There was I'm trying to think, like centre backs. Paul Rogers was very good. Steve Wright, who was at Colchester and then came to HJK with us. I mean, he in the first game, especially in Helsinki, he marked Ian Rush out of the game. He really he showed. And then even when he went back to England, he went back to Wrexham with Bobby Roberts and played in the European competitions again. I think they beat Roma in the Europe Cup Winners' Cup or something. So I'd go with those two. With Paul Rogers and Steve Wright. Gritty would have to get in the team.
Of course, regardless.
He's got to be there. I would say left back, probably a difficult one. But again, the Charlton lad, Phil Warman. A lot of games for Charlton. Phil, legend at the football club. And then midfield, I'd go probably with Mickey Horswell and DC from Happy Valley. Up front, we had a lad called Carmel Buzatil in Malta. What a player he was, by the way.
You imagine now these players would never have stayed in, respect to Malta, but they players would be scattered over all the big leagues in Europe now.
Oh, they
but
would be, yeah.
you say at the time, Maltese football went under the radar.
Yeah, Carmel eventually went to Genk in Belgium, and then moved on to an Italian club. I can't remember off the top of my head now. And then the other forward would be the lad who scored against Liverpool, Atik Ismail.
Yeah,
like I say, what a player he was. Really was something special. And then I'll go back to Charlton again for the right-hand side of midfield with Colin Powell. And then Mickey Flanagan on the left-hand side.
Brilliant. What a team, eh? The great to put yourself together in that team, eh? But, I mean, when you retired, you've never lost the desire for football. Eh? I mean, I've got here your managerial career. You really started 1996, I've got with Brighton, eh? Steve Gritt, again, who we mentioned, appointed you as Brighton assistant, but it was at a really tough time for Brighton from where they are now, eh?
Oh, it was. I mean, we look back on those days, and it was incredible, to be fair, because I'd been coaching at Charlton, like I said, when I came back from Finland, and then Gritty got the job and said to me, like, do you want to come down as my number two? And bad times. It was like there were troubles with the crowd. When Gritty was actually doing his press conference, and a brick came through the window.
Oh my!
Like one of the supporters because of the atmosphere down there was so toxic. And
what was causing that then? Was it the way the team was performing, and was the problems at board level as well? Or?
It was the board level. It was a guy called Archer. He bought the club. He lived in Chester, and had bought the club for a minimal amount. And basically, never said. I mean, the whole time I was at Brighton, I only saw him once, and that was when we went up to play in Chester. He never come to the games. There was no money out there for players. It was difficult, very, very difficult, and the supporters, I think, had just about had enough of it. You know, and so he had a big job.
That's what it takes for the fans as well. Eh? I mean, if it feels like their club, but they've got no control over it, and that's when it obviously all turned as well. Eh?
Well, he'd already decided he was going to knock the Goldstone down, and at the end of that first season, our last home game against Doncaster, that was the last game at the Goldstone.
It's brutal. Eh? It's a shame because when you got that time in, eh? But I mean, you then ended up going over to Malta as well, and it's the Wanderers. I'm going to say, go and pronounce the team name. It starts with S.
Yeah, Seymour Wanderers. Yeah,
thank you. I wouldn't do it justice. Say thank you. And how was your time over there then?
I enjoyed it because I'd been there before with Rabat playing, and then got the opportunity to go out there and coach. And again, they'd not won a trophy for 7 years, and we won the Super Cup and the League Cup in that first season. So
perfect. Eh? And I've got about a 10-year gap, and I've put down time-out game gaining coaching badges. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was when I came back from Finland. UEFA were just bringing in the conversions to, which was one of the reasons that I actually came back, because I still had a year on my contract to go at Kniston. I was player coach there,
right?
But I felt that I needed to do this, get these coaching badges if I was actually going to go on and do stuff. So I converted what I had into the B license, and then got on the A license with the Welsh FA, and just did everything through the Welsh FA, including the pro license.
Brilliant. It's amazing. Eh? And then you done your Gibraltar time in Gibraltar, where you're currently still at now. I'll put down, right, I've got down Lions Gibraltar, 1 season in charge. Gibraltar national team, I've got for 2015 to about 2018, you've been assistant, manager, under 17s, and you also had a stint at Manchester 62, there at Gibraltar League side as well. Eh?
Yeah, I did that.
I just love it over there, just love it now.
It was interesting. I think I took the Manchester job more because I'd come out of the GFA.
Okay. Live podcast. That's what happens.
I'd come out of the national job there and the coach education side of it, and then went on to. I thought, well, I got offered that job, I thought, yeah, I'll take it. But the club were in dire straits at the time. Looking back, I probably shouldn't have done. I mean, this is honestly true, but players were on £5 per training session.
Oh, goodness. That's crazy.
Eventually, they sold it. And I think it's been sold again since then, because it tends in the clubs in Gibraltar, there's no income, there's no gate money, there's no television rights, and there's no advertising because it's a government stadium. So you can't have your own advertising hoardings around the ground. The only thing you can do is have something on the shirt.
And who's going to, and all due respect, who's going to want to put their sponsorship behind that, because obviously they're getting no exposure.
No, that's the thing. I mean, they had their sort of community shield yesterday, Pepe Reyes Cup, and somebody told me last night that it was no more than 500 people there.
Outrageous, It's outrageous. And is there many players coming out of Gibraltar now then? Is there players that are coming out of Gibraltar League into Europe more now?
I think it's difficult. I mean, when I first went down there as technical director to the Gibraltar Football Association, they weren't in UEFA. And I sent players across to the UK, to Colchester, to West Ham, to Leicester. Not so much because I thought they were actually going to get a contract, but because I thought they needed to see what pro football was all about. It wasn't just a case of doing what they were doing in Gibraltar, turning up for training and then going home and doing what they want. And it's a lifestyle
mentality a wee bit.
Yeah. So there was a case of getting people out to have a look at it. But I don't really think, looking back, it's changed too much. It's still that same sort of. Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, I think there's some good young players in Gibraltar, but probably only up to the age of about 15, 16. I think after that, they all go to the UK, to university. And then when they come back when they're 21, 22, it's too late.
Yep, and you can understand it as a parent. I mean, you can be saying to them, well, you've got to stay in Gibraltar and fight for this football dream, when you can actually make a lifestyle, an actual better setup for yourself. It's tough.
Yeah.
And the same applies, Jeff, as well. I mean, if a club was to sign a player from the Gibraltar League, it would be very frowned upon, and it shouldn't really. I mean, if they catch them at the right time. But that's, again, that comes back to...
So I think you've got to do it very young. You've got to do it when they're very young. And I think if you leave it too late, then by the time they finish university, I think that is too late for them.
It's a shame, really, but no, it's good. I mean, you're still living over there, and I mean, what's the plans going forward? Are you going to still keep up with the coaching and being involved?
Yeah, I still do some coaching. I still play, like I said, 2-3 times a week.
Yeah.
And I just enjoy that camaraderie. It's like, you're out there, you're playing, and it's a beer afterwards and a good social, and I just think it's a way of life, playing football. Can I tell you a couple of other? Can I just tell you a couple of other things just before
please,
because these are sort of quite interesting. These are stories that I always tell. Because when I took over the national manager's job in Gibraltar, it was like taking over a Sunday morning team.
Oh God!
It was really the dark ages, They didn't want to do any of the match analysis. They didn't want to do the video recordings, anything. So to start with, I had everything done for me for nothing because of people that I knew in the game. Right. But one particular incident, I asked for a walkie-talkie so I could talk to the physio when he went on to an injured player. And they said no. So what we did, I was actually walking along the seafront, and I looked and I saw these kiddies' buckets and spades. And I bought 3 spades. I bought a red one, a yellow one, and a green one. So the physio would hold up the red one if the player had to come off.
Amazing.
He would hold up the yellow one if he needed a bit of time to make a decision. And if he put the green one up, then the player could stay on and play.
That's mental. And it's just shown, trying to find ways of showing them how the game can develop and how these aspects can change. Yeah, it's brilliant.
It really was like I don't know. It just was difficult. Everything that we did, like the travel arrangements, and by then I'd already been working with the Welsh under 17s, 19s, and 21 teams. Yeah. and that ran like clockwork. Everything was like, I mean, I remember us again with Gibraltar. We played Ireland where Martin O'Neill was in charge, and we got beat. And Martin was fantastic. He came in our session. He came and said, like, "Can I have a chat with the players?" I went, "Yeah." So he came in and said how well they'd done, and you know how hard they'd worked and everything. And just keep doing it. But anyway, we left the game probably about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the evening, and drove all the way to Lisbon to catch a flight at 6 o'clock the following morning. Can you not have a night in, you know, in Faro or somewhere, and then we'll go tomorrow? And like, no, it's already been booked. And I think they were it was the cheapest flights. And
for Martin O'Neill to take the time out, and you know, you see the real big characters of the games, the ones that have really made it as managers and coaches. Everybody's got a good story to tell about them, and just that small gesture, that'll raise the players' attitudes right away as well.
He was brilliant, Martin. Him and Jim McDonough, and Roy Keane all came in and said very nice things to the players. And another one who was one of the old school, if you like, Gordon Strachan. He was manager at Scotland. Yeah. And I was just going out for the warm-up before we played them in the qualifiers. And they said, "Look, can Gordon have a word with you?" So I went, "Yeah, sure." So I've done a chat. He gave me a bottle of whiskey.
Amazing.
But it was Famous Grouse, but he'd had the label changed to Famous Wood.
Oh wow! It's just small touches like that. Eh?
Yeah, it is. You know, people don't think about those big characters doing things like that. I mean, it was like, oh. But that's still got it on the sideboard there. It's the Famous Wood.
Right, you still not. You've not touched it. No, you never drunk it.
No, it's not getting touched at all.
I'm surprised they never said that to you. There's a bottle. Don't drink it. Could have got you having a wee drink before it, mind you. That would have been a different podcast. But listen, thank you so much. Honestly, I can't thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Honestly, I've enjoyed it.
It's been amazing, right? I'll keep in touch after it, right? But I'll end the recording here. And like I say, thanks so much. I hope everybody's enjoyed it.
Thank you. Anything you ever need or want, just, I'm here.